Richard Rip Hamilton, Intel True VR and NBA on TNT VR. That's who you're here joining. Before we talk about that one, though, Rich, while you're here, I'm still caught up, and sorry, man, because I'm caught up in what happened with Kevin Durant. And I'm thinking, never was an NBA player, but I've seen in my NFL career injuries to marquee players. And then all of a sudden, it's like, uh-oh, what do we do now? So last night, as I'm watching the game, Kevin Durant goes down, Rip. And have you been in a situation like that where a player of that magnitude on your team goes down, and it's like, what do we do?
Oh, man, that was definitely a heart-dropping moment if I'm Klay Thompson or Steph Curry. I mean, you got a guy that's pretty much looked at as being unguardable. Like, he's the only guy that you have on your team that if Steph ain't making shots and Klay ain't making shots and, Draymond can't get in the paint and make plays, KD's the only guy on your team that you can throw the ball to and just say, all right, everybody get out the way and give me a bucket. That's the luxury of Kevin Garnett on this incredible team already. So, yes, I do think it's going to have an effect on them. Can they still get through this series? Yes. I mean, you still got a two-time MVP in Steph Curry. And do I believe that, do Steph Curry take a back seat sometimes because of KD? Similar to D. Wade did in Miami when LeBron James got there? Yeah, I can see that. Is there higher levels that Steph Curry can get to without him? Yes. So I do think, yes, it's a heart-dropping moment, but I still believe that Golden State still can get to the finals.
But, Rip, how do you do it on the road, though? It's one thing to play at home and to have the situation happen with Kevin Durant. You still win the game, and you have this luxury now, right? You go on the road knowing you just got to win one of the next two games. But how do you handle it on the road so it doesn't get to a Game 7?
Well, I think that for them, everybody's going to write them off right now, Golden State, saying that, hey, this is a guaranteed game that the Houston Rockets is going to get. So I look at it saying the pressure is more on Houston. I mean, how about Houston? How about if you're James Harden, a guy that could be a two-time MVP, and Chris Paul, him being injured last year and not getting an opportunity to play in a Game 7. So I think it's more pressure on them guys than it is the Golden State Warriors because the playoffs is all about, the playoffs don't really start or end until the first team loses on their home court, especially with a team that has home court advantage. So for them, it's like, all right, you know what, we got a 3-2 lead. We only need to get one. All the pressure is going to be on Houston. We just got to come out there and play, have fun, move the ball, and hopefully they can get hot. When you got two of the best shooters in the world, anything can happen.
He's Rip Hamilton, NBA champion, joins us on behalf of Intel True VR and NBA on TNT VR. We'll get to more of that a little bit later, Rip. But my next question for you would be, I want to shift over more toward the Eastern Conference. Obviously, the Boston Celtics lost yesterday, and they have been eliminated. But what I'm seeing from Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks, I sort of likened it a little bit to a young LeBron James, a guy who you saw in the Eastern Conference as he kind of rose to stardom fairly quickly, which we already knew he had that expectation. But you saw a young LeBron kind of put a team on his back and get to a finals. You played against that guy. Is there similarities between the two, Giannis and LeBron, right now, what you're seeing in these playoffs?
Oh, yes, most definitely. And I'm sad that I got to revisit that moment when LeBron James
I didn't want to bring it up.
25 straight points against us. I mean, should we double team, trap him? That's still going in the back of my head right now. But, yes, when you think about it, I think LeBron in the situation where we were in Detroit, we felt like we were the last level of defense for LeBron to get to the NBA Finals. And if he got through us, then, oh, my goodness, the sky's the limit for him. And you can see in his career and on how much success he had after beating us. And Giannis is very similar. Giannis has that it factor, especially when it comes to superstardom and being the main guy in the locker room to lead his troops. He doesn't take any days off. If you talk to people in the organization in Milwaukee, they got to kick him off the court, especially during holidays. He's a guy that's there New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, working on his game. And that's great, especially when a guy is so young. A lot of times it takes young players to grow into that role. and especially on a young team. He got that within. He's not trying to work out with other individuals. He's not trying to hang out with other guys. He's not trying to be cool. He's trying to win. You see him in the All-Star game, it seems like he's the only guy in the All-Star game playing hard. you know, he's the guy in the All-Star game that's trying to compete. So I don't think he has a off switch when it comes to that. In transition, very similar to LeBron James. I mean, you got to build a wall. Like, if you don't, he gets 1 foot in the paint, it's a dunk, you know? And now the game has changed. So you don't have the traditional bigs no more, right? You don't have Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace being the security blanket when you're talking about defense. Like, you get past me and Tayshaun and Chauncey, you still got to battle with the big boys. Now when you look at teams are going small, right? Their center is now either the small forward or the power forward. Right. Their power forward is usually the small forward or the two guard, you know? So as soon as Giannis gets past the first guy, he's a lot bigger and stronger than the guy that's on the last part of your defense. Right. So, I mean, he's arguably unguardable. He's my pick for the MVP.
NBA champion Rip Hamilton joining the Rich Eisen show, Kirk Morrison filling in for Rich. And I'm thinking back to when your Detroit Pistons team kind of came together, the NBA champion team. And I look at the game tonight in the series between Toronto and Philadelphia. And I'm going to stick with Philadelphia because it's a couple young guys, and Ben Simmons, obviously, Joel Embiid. But then you bring in the Jimmy Butler, the Tobias Harris, and you're saying that here's some guys still developing that chemistry. Mm-hmm. How did you guys develop that chemistry kind of pretty quickly to a point where if there's some advice you can give Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, because these two guys have been so up and down in this series, and I think we expect more from them. So what advice would you give these guys in especially a Game 6 situation?
Well, first of all, you got to understand that when you're in the playoffs, right, I think Larry Brown used to always say to us, right, this is a cool analogy about the whole thing. He used to say, all right, you know what, when we get to the playoffs, guys, hey, understand this. They already picked their all-star team. Believe it. They already picked. The All-Star's over. Right. They already had our All-Stars out there, right? Certain guys are picked, certain guys aren't. They already got in their mind the votes when it comes to all NBA teams and everything else, right? Everybody's playing for one thing right now, and that's winning a championship. So it's not about your individual success. It's how can you make your teammates better, and how can you be productive on the floor doing what you do at the best of your ability. Don't do someone else's job or, you know, try to critique someone else out there on your team. Play your game, and I'll put you in all the right spots on the floor. Don't worry about all the outside noise. And when you're a young team, when you're a young group, there's always a lot of outside noise that can affect your game on the court, right? They could be saying, like, all right, you know what, Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, this is your team now. You guys should be getting more shots than Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, right? And they should be building around that. That's outside noise that can affect a young team. I do feel like, hey, you know what, chemistry-wise, they have got better over the season, but they're still not there. Some games the Sixers look great. Some games the Sixers look all right, you know. And I think a lot of that has to be with chemistry, you know, still learning each other, because they arguably got probably the second best starting five in the league. Right. And most of these guys, when you're talking about Jimmy and Tobias, they were alpha dogs on their teams, like guys that they will run their offense, leading scorers. And now you're coming on a team now that probably has one of the most dominant players in our game, and Joel Embiid, a guy that can demand the ball every time down the floor, right? So it's similar to my Pistons team. We were good, right? Right. Without Rasheed Wallace. But when we got Rasheed Wallace, man, we were great. we were unstoppable. Like okay, like me and Chauncey then used to come off pick and rolls and pin downs and like, oh, they can't double team us now? Why? Because they got to worry about Rasheed on the flare. You got to watch Rasheed ducking in, and you always got to worry about Ben going to the offensive glass. So now you got 5 guys on the court that can all play that teams got to be aware of. So I think that if with the Sixers, understand, hey, it's okay to make the hockey pass out there. It's okay for someone else to run the offense. It's okay for me maybe to come out and take 5 or 6 shots and only have 10 points, because I got 3 other guys on this team or 4 other guys on the team that can go out and give me 30 or give me 40. So it's not all about the individuals. It's all about the team.
Rip Hamilton, the NBA champion, joins us from Intel True VR and NBA on TNT VR. I'm still going to get to that in 1 second, Rip, but I got to think back to your 2004 NBA champion team again, the Detroit Pistons, because they took down a dynasty in the Los Angeles Lakers with Kobe, Shaq, Karl Malone, a team that people thought was a runaway with the NBA Finals. You guys went in there. You mentioned it yourself, Rasheed, Ben, Chauncey, Tayshaun. And I'm looking maybe at the Houston Rockets as they're trying to take down another dynasty in the Warriors, now minus Kevin Durant. But the way that you guys attacked it, what was your mindset along with what you mentioned, the outside noise? How did you leave that outside noise outside of the locker room as well?
Well, first of all, we wasn't scared, first and foremost.
Right.
Because the Lakers can be very intimidating, just
Correct.
like the Golden State Warriors. I mean, Lakers have 4 Hall of Famers, right?
Right.
But in our mind, we felt like we were the best 5 alive. and nothing could take that away from us. And we had dogs. Like we were like pit bulls. Like, all right, you know what? we all felt like we came from different situations where teams gave up on us. Like, all right, you know what, we're just going to send you to Detroit, right? Mm-hmm. And then we all got together, and we all had that same story. We all felt like we're in the foxhole together, right? Outside of Detroit, there's a lot of people that don't believe that we can win it all. But we just felt as though that the chemistry was right. Like, I knew Chauncey's game inside and out. He knew my game inside and out. And it was weird because we were only playing together for 2 years then, like a year and a half. Rasheed came mid-season. But it was a thing that we all respected each other and we all tried to protect each other like we were brothers. So Rasheed wouldn't let down Ben Wallace. So if Rasheed had to guard whoever, right, Karl Malone, he knew that, all right, I got to guard Karl Malone head up, you know, because I don't want to let my brother down by getting in foul trouble or doing stupid plays out there or getting technical fouls or anything like that, you know, because it would affect my brother and affect his job and how he does his job, right? So it was a big thing off of respect. We all believed that, you know, we were great. Like, me and Chauncey felt like we were the best backcourt in the league from day one. Rasheed and Ben thought they were the best, you know, front court in the NBA. Tayshaun felt like he can guard anybody out there on the floor, right? And took a step back offensively so we can be great, so the team can be great. So it was just all about sacrificing. Guys understood each other, and we just wouldn't let each other down. We felt like we were the best. We didn't go in saying, all right, you know what, the Lakers are the best. They the cream of the crop. No, the Pistons is. That's what we believe.
NBA champion Rip Hamilton joining the Rich Eisen Show. Kirk Morrison filling in for Rich. But you're joining us on behalf of Intel True VR and NBA on TNT VR. Tell us about it.
Well, yeah, it's cool. Intel Sports brings fans closer to the game through virtual reality, which is awesome. So you can kind of view the game through Oculus goggles, and you can use the Samsung device also to kind of view the game. And what it does is kind of brings the experience, the NBA experience of going to the game inside your house. So you can kind of sit on your couch, you can wear your pajamas, you can be outside, you know, wherever there's Wi-Fi capabilities, and view the game and feel like you're there on the floor watching the game. I always said when I was a kid, I wish I had something like this because my parents couldn't afford to spend as much money they would on a floor seat. And the goggles allow you to get that experience there. You know, you kind of see the stuff from like angles that you wouldn't be able to see on the normal telecast. And I'm able to, me and Stephanie Reddy, my co-host, we're able to direct you through that, you know, through that transition, all the different camera angles, and giving you a more like fun and creative experience when it comes to, you know, talking the game. And it's not just all about analytics. We're kind of like bringing you in the locker room and just having like a conversation with you through storytelling and to tell you exactly what's going on in the game too. So it's a fun experience.
Fun experience. Also able to access in-game data, and free, and is available to download from the Oculus store, correct?
Yes. You can go in the Oculus store. You can download the NBA TNT VR app, And once you download that, you go to your local cable prescriber, and then you put your information there, and you got it. You ready to rock and roll.
Hey, Rip, I appreciate the time, man. Definitely going to check it out. And I look forward to talking to you soon and get some more of your thoughts, man. Appreciate it.
And also, too, to add that I couldn't allow Kobe Bryant to beat me in the finals. There's no way I'm allowing Kobe Bryant to beat me in the finals. So I had to add that in there, too.
Trust me, since you beat them, the Lakers, they've won a couple championships, but really quick, I mean, I know we got to take a break here, but just in 10 seconds with what's going on in Los Angeles with the coaching search, in 10 seconds, how do you describe that?
Well, like I said, it's a mess, and it's sad because the Lakers are probably arguably the best. And when you got Magic stepping down and you got T. Lue not accepting the job, I mean, early in the season we were talking about LeBron James being MVP and them being able to be in the top 3 seed. And if he doesn't get hurt, it's a whole different conversation now.
Right.
So it's just a mess how all this stuff all came about.
All right. Hey, Rip, man, appreciate the time as always, man. We'll catch up with you soon.
Yes, sir.
That's Rip Hamilton, NBA champion, joining us on behalf of Intel Sports, True VR, and NBA on TNT VR as well.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.